Well, hello everyone, and I'm recording from my home office today for English 101. You can see my grandchildren's toys behind me here if I move around enough. This is my closet office, which I haven't recorded in since the early to late days of COVID. But enough about that. I'm here to tell you about the most incredible research tool, the most powerful research tool you will ever use, and it's called Topic Finder at Academic Onefile. Now, maybe a handful of you have experience using this tool, but in my experience, most people have never been shown it. They don't even know it exists, and you can access it because you are a college student. So I'm going to take you to the Library and Learning Commons database page. We're going to go to Academic Onefile, and then the fun begins. So hey, bear with me for a little bit. So right now I've navigated to the Library and Learning Commons page, and I'm going to go down to Research Databases. Click on that. And again, you've seen me use the databases before, but I'm going to go to the second one under letter A, which is Academic Onefile. Very, very popular, very powerful database. It's going to prompt me for my Radar ID. It's promised me you won't use my number. And here we are. So this is just sort of the generic search box that you'll see on most databases. You can go to an advanced search, and we'll demonstrate that a little bit later. And you can see that there's a number of different things that float across the top here, topics. And I want to click on Topic Finder. Notice how it's got this little pie graph here. So again, Topic Finder has a little generic search window, but it's what you'll see underneath that really is the pizzazz, what makes this one of the best things I think I've ever seen in research, one of the best tools that I use, and I'm so excited to pass along to you. A lot of times I'll have a research question, but when we're using just a few terms, it searches more efficiently. So I thought I would put in student loan forgiveness because this is a big deal. You might know family or friends who might benefit from the student loan forgiveness program. And we're going to search that and just watch what happens. And boom, look at this. Now you can visualize this as a wheel, but I prefer to look at the tiles or the blobs here that are presented. What this tool does is it searches in several different ways around the issue of student loan forgiveness. And each section, the size determines how much information they have. So you can see over here in the corners, there's a lot of information about President Biden's plan, his announcement, the forgiveness plans, the Biden administration, of course, under education, White House. For some reason, CNN always shows up a lot. And I think it's because they do that 24/7 news broadcast. And as you move down, you'll see they get a little bit tinier and a little bit smaller. That doesn't mean there's no information there, it just means there's less information. So let's just click on Biden's announcement and watch what happens. It is just zoomed in on that tile, that blob, and now we have specific information on his plan. So all of these are kind of like what we consider subtopics under Biden's plan. Eligibility, Trump's reaction, higher education costs, payments, the education department, eligibility requirements, and so forth. So here's the neat thing. Let's say I want to know if I'm eligible or I want to learn about this. I'm going to click on eligibility and watch over here on this side. Now you can see we have 4 articles that have popped up on eligibility. So here's who's eligible, you know, about the $10,000 cap, all these great things. And here's what's even better. Let's say I want to know. I'm going to click right here. And boom, here is a short article on that. Is that blowing your mind already? I think it's amazing. It's one of the best powerful research tools I think I've ever seen in my entire life. First and foremost, it is a research tool, but let me show you some other things you can do with it, because we can use this tool to zoom in, sort of like what I just did with eligibility, but we can also use it to organize an essay. So if you wonder, what am I supposed to talk about? What should I talk about? This tool can provide you your paragraphs, your subsections, all the other information that you might want to cover if you're doing student loan forgiveness. But let's use a student example from last semester just to show you how powerful this tool can really be. I'm going to go back to Topic Finder. And I'm going to show you what one student was working on for me. He was a fisherman, hunter and a fisherman, did some guiding. I think he may have even had his own boat that he took people out on. And he was very much interested in invasive species. If you've been in Michigan a while, you know, if you've been fishing, gobies are an invasive species, zebra mussels, quagga mussels. So we started this way. We just put in a general search, invasive species. And notice all the big tiles here: ecosystems, conservation investigators, different plants, new data. Again, if I click on any one of these, let's look at invasive alien species. That makes it sound like they come from space, which I hope they're not coming from there. But if I click in, here we can zoom in again. We can go to different areas. And again, those articles will appear on the right every time I click on a new area. By the way, if you want to go back to where you were, you just use this little reset right here. But here's the deal. There are literally thousands of articles if we just research invasive species. And we knew a couple things. Number one, we know that he wants to do Michigan invasive species. And number two, he's interested in aquatic invasive species in Michigan. So not plants, not furry critters that walk around on the ground, but fish, crustaceans, things like that. So we're going to go in and just add a little bit more information into that window and zoom in so that we get articles that relate more specifically to what he was looking for. So I'm going to go back and research again, and I'm going to do Michigan Great Lakes invasive species. Oops, it brought not to what I wanted to go. Let me go back a screen here. I try that again. I think I typed in the wrong spot. So I'm going to go into Topic Finder. Michigan invasive species, Great Lakes. All right, so now I'm in the right window. So you'll see they kind of look almost bigger, like they're empty, but notice how they're specific to Michigan. Michigan Natural Resources, Lansing, Great Lakes Region. Let's just click on Natural Resources, Michigan Department. So when I click in on this tile, it doesn't zoom in because there's not quite as many specific subcategories. But again, it's looking for all the things that are relating to Michigan. Asian carp is a big issue. Here we can look at this because Asian carp, they're trying to keep them from coming through the Chicago River and into the southern part of Lake Michigan. We can look at Great Lakes region. It's more specific articles. Notice there's fewer of them, but it's a lot more specific. You can get some news and university studies and information. So that's what I mean by kind of zooming in. Now, at some point, if you get too specific, all the tiles will probably not be there. So you can start broad, kind of fish around, see what you're looking for. Oh, I use the word fish, very punny. And then you can kind of zoom in if you want to, or if you're not sure, maybe you just keep it zoomed out. But this is also like an organization tool. You can use it when you're creating an outlining, you're creating a plan for your essay, and I'll just show you how that works too. So I'm going to redo my search here, and I'm going to be a little bit more general, but I'm going to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, which has gained, enormous traction since George Floyd's death, and even before, when you look at Trayvon Martin and other situations. Notice we have a lot smaller tiles, and within those tiles are even smaller ones. Now, the nice thing about using this as an organizational tool is when we look at a topic like this that's so big, we can't cover all of it. I mean, there's just too much to cover, but we can get an idea of what we might want to cover. For example, do we want to look at protests? If I click on protests, then you'll notice there are all of these different categories. And without too much imagination, you can imagine that this is kind of an organizational plan for your editing. So you might want to look at police shootings. You might want to look at recent shootings. You might want to look at incidents like Michael Brown, George Floyd. You might want to look at protests against police brutality. And when you take all these, you can actually put them down on a piece of paper, or you can organize them whatever manner that works for you. And you can think, now, how am I going to move? Maybe I will start with the story of George Floyd, because that's seminal. That's really part of the very beginnings, at least the organized beginnings of Black Lives Matter. And then maybe I'm going to move to, incidents of police brutality. And then I'm going to talk about activism. And then maybe I'll go on to recent police shootings. Maybe because COVID seems to have affected everything, maybe I'll have a little paragraph on COVID-19 and how that affected the movement. So this can be an organizational tool as well as it is a research tool. I'm going to go back to my main menu, my main screen. Again, maybe I want to do something different with it. Maybe I want to look at the online social network and how that has been part of the Black Lives Matter movement. Again, Topic Finder on Academic Onefile, mega big search tool, just wonderful. If you've never used it before, trust me, you're going to love it. Not only in this class, but for your other classes as well. With that in mind, your discussion board post this week has you investigating an issue that you would like to investigate, maybe for our final essay, which is our final research essay, not LE2, which is coming up already this week. But looking forward to our final essay, if there's an issue for which you have a passion, a desire to learn more, have questions that you need answers to, that's what research is all about, this tool can really help you. So again, I hope you'll find it as unique and exciting and as helpful as I do. And at any rate, have some fun with it, and we'll look for your results in our discussion board thread. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.